The hum of the quantum processor was the only sound in the dimly lit chamber. Jack Harrow's fingers danced over the holographic keyboard, eyes narrowing as the lines of the Galactic Codex scrolled before him. His job was simple: maintain the Codex, a sprawling web of rules and regulations that governed everything from trade routes to planetary sovereignty. But today, something was different. Today, something was wrong. Jack had always thought the Codex was a marvel of bureaucratic engineering, a system so complex that no one, not even the highest-ranking officials in the Galactic Council, could fully understand it. But today, as he reviewed the latest encryption protocol, a stray string of code flickered on the edge of the screen, almost imperceptible. It wasn't supposed to be there. He wasn't sure if it was a glitch or something more deliberate, but something in his gut told him it was important. He leaned forward, squinting at the flashing anomaly. It was embedded deep within the Codex's encrypted layers, hidden beneath multiple layers of security protocols. This wasn't just a random error. This was placed there, deliberately. Jack tapped a few keys, isolating the string of code. It was a sequence he had never encountered before, a fragment of unknown origin. His mind raced. Who could have done this? The Codex was sacred, and altering it was unthinkable. If someone had tampered with it, the ramifications could be disastrous. With a series of rapid commands, Jack opened up a deeper protocol viewer. He was deep within the Codex now, far beyond the realms he was supposed to access. The string of code morphed into a set of encrypted symbols, nothing Jack had seen before. His fingers hovered over the keyboard as his pulse quickened. He needed to know more. Suddenly, the door to his chamber slid open. He barely had time to react before a tall, imposing figure stepped into the room. The stranger's uniform marked him as a high-ranking member of the Galactic Council, though Jack didn't recognize the insignia. "Jack Harrow," the stranger said, his voice a deep, resonant tone that vibrated through the room. "You've been called." Jack's heart skipped a beat, the words hanging in the air like a threat. "Called? By whom?" The man didn't answer directly. Instead, he stepped closer, his eyes scanning the glowing holographic display. "I assume you've seen it." The stranger was referring to the anomaly. Jack felt his stomach tighten. "I don't know what you're talking about." A smirk tugged at the edges of the man's lips. "The encryption glitch in the Codex." "It's not a glitch, Mr. Harrow. It's an invitation." Jack's mind raced. An invitation? What kind of invitation? And why would it be hidden so deep within the Codex, a place only the most trusted could access? He had to get control of the situation. He stood up from his chair, trying to mask his growing anxiety. "What's going on here?" Jack asked, his voice firm but laced with curiosity. "Who are you?" The stranger didn't respond immediately. Instead, he raised a hand, and a thin beam of light shot from a small device on his wrist, projecting an image in the air. The hologram showed a map of the galaxy. Several planets were highlighted in red, with a few marked in yellow. "These are the planets where the Codex has been altered. They're the key to understanding what's at stake here." Jack's heart pounded as he studied the map. Planets in the core systems, planets near the fringes of the galaxy, each one marked for a specific reason. "What do you want from me?" Jack asked, his voice steady despite the growing dread inside him. "You're the only one who can decode what's been tampered with," the man replied. "And the only one who can prevent a catastrophe." The words struck Jack like a punch to the chest. "Catastrophe?" He shook his head, trying to clear the fog clouding his thoughts. "You're talking about a war," the man finished for him. "A war between the Galactic Council and the species that stand to lose everything if the Codex is altered. A war that has already begun. And you, Jack Harrow, are the only one who can stop it." The gravity of the situation was sinking in. Jack had thought he was just a cog in the machine, just another human doing his job in the vast, impersonal galaxy. But now, everything had changed. The Codex wasn't just a set of rules. It was the foundation of galactic order. And someone powerful, had set a plan into motion that could tear it all apart. "I'm just a programmer," Jack said, his voice quieter now. I don't understand. This is beyond me. The man's eyes narrowed. No, Mr. Harrow, you don't understand yet. But you will. The Codex is more than just a set of laws, it's a living document, one that governs every interaction between species. And someone has figured out how to bend it to their will. Jack took a step back, his mind spinning. Why me? Why not someone else? Because you're human, the man said, his voice low. The Codex has been corrupted by the very species that created it. But a human mind, your mind, can see the patterns they've missed. You're the key to finding out who's behind this and stopping them before it's too late. Jack was silent for a moment, processing the information. His heart still raced, but now, something else was burning inside him, determination. This wasn't just about fixing a bug or solving a code error. This was about saving the galaxy from the brink of destruction. I need to know more, Jack said, his voice steady. I need to see the full extent of the changes. The man nodded and gestured to the hologram. You will. But time is running out. If you don't act quickly, the Council will be forced to act first. And when they do, it'll be too late. Jack stared at the hologram, his mind whirling. There was no turning back now. The galaxy was on the edge of a precipice, and he was standing at the center of it all. With a deep breath, he took a step forward. Where do we start? He asked. The man's smirk returned, but there was something darker behind his eyes. We start by finding the one who broke the code. And making sure they don't break it again. The cold, metallic walls of the safe house were suffocating. Jack couldn't shake the feeling of being trapped, even as the latest data stream ran across the room's projection display. His fingers gripped the edge of the table as the holographic map of the galaxy pulsed with ominous red markings. Zarmecker, the High Administrator, had no intention of letting the Codex's secret remain hidden, and now Jack had become the target. You have to make a choice, Jack, said Elena, her voice steady but laced with urgency. She was the leader of the rebel group that had come to his aid, a woman who'd seen too much of the galaxy's underbelly. She was human, like him, but hardened by the politics and power struggles of the wider universe. Elena wasn't one for speeches or empty promises, she was all action. We can hide, we can run, but we can't undo what's been done. The Codex is broken, and Zar is closing in. Jack leaned back in his chair, rubbing his eyes as he processed the gravity of her words. Everything he had believed in, the structure of galactic peace, the order of the Council, was built on a lie. The Codex was meant to be the ultimate arbiter of justice, an unshakable pillar of law and governance. But now, it was a ticking time bomb. The powers that be were scrambling to cover their tracks, and Jack was in the crosshairs. I didn't ask for this, he muttered, his voice tinged with bitterness. The weight of his discovery was beginning to crush him. He was just a programmer, he didn't have the skills to fight a war. He had never wanted to be part of a rebellion. He just wanted to go home, to finish his work, to live a life free from galactic politics. But the universe had other plans. Elena's eyes softened, but her tone remained firm. It doesn't matter if you asked for it or not. The truth's out, Jack. And once the truth is out, there's no going back. People will fight to protect the Codex, or to destroy it. Jack stared at the map, watching the pulsating dots spread across the galaxy. Each red mark represented a system where the Codex had been altered. Zar's enforcers were already moving in, their orders clear: eliminate anyone who threatened the Codex's sanctity. Jack knew they would come for him next. He wasn't safe, not in this room, not anywhere. I can't hide forever, Jack said, more to himself than to Elena. Zar will find me. He's too powerful. And if he doesn't kill me, he'll use the Codex's control to make sure no one can challenge him. You're right, Elena replied. Zar is relentless. But that's why we need to act now. We've located the heart of the Codex's corruption. There's a vault, buried deep within the Galactic Council's archives. If we can get there and access the primary servers, we can reverse the damage. We can expose everything. Jack's heart raced. The primary servers, the very foundation of the Codex, were in the hands of the Council. The vault was a myth, a place that was supposedly impenetrable, hidden within a labyrinth of security protocols and layers of defense. The odds of succeeding were slim. But failure wasn't an option. If they didn't stop Tsar now, the entire galaxy would fall under the grip of a tyrant. And you expect me to break into a vault that's surrounded by the most advanced security systems in the galaxy? Jack said, disbelief evident in his voice. I don't even know where to start. Elena's gaze locked onto his. You already have. The code you found, it's a key, Jack. A key to something bigger. The Codex isn't just a set of rules. It's alive. It adapts. Whoever created it, they built in fail-safes, hidden triggers. You're the only one who can read it. The only one who can break the encryption. Jack shook his head, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. I'm not some hero. I don't have the skills or the knowledge to go up against someone like Tsar. Elena's right, said a voice from the door. Jack turned to see a familiar face. It was Rian, the tech specialist who had helped him analyze the Codex's corruption. You may not have the tools, Jack, but you have something else. The humans, we're different. We think differently. We see patterns others can't. The Codex, it's not just logic. It's chaos, too. And that's something you understand better than anyone. Jack looked at the map again, his mind still racing. Rian's words stuck with him. Humans were unpredictable. They didn't fit into the tidy, ordered systems that other species relied on. Maybe that was why the Codex was so difficult to control. Humans were wild cards, impossible to predict, impossible to contain. He stood up, suddenly feeling the weight of his role in this mess. Okay. We'll go to the vault. We'll break in. Elena's eyes narrowed, a flicker of approval passing through her. Good. But don't expect it to be easy. We'll need a plan. We need to move fast, and we need to be smart. Tsar won't let us get close without a fight. Jack nodded. The urgency was clear. Time was running out. They didn't have the luxury of hesitation. But as he looked at the map again, something else hit him. The vault wasn't just a place to expose the truth, it was the only way to prevent an intergalactic war. Tsar would stop at nothing to protect the Codex's secrets. And if they didn't act fast, the galaxy would fall into chaos. As the team prepared for the mission, Jack's mind raced through the implications of what they were about to do. They were about to enter the heart of the system that held the universe together. And they were going to change everything. Elena turned to Jack, a hard edge to her voice. Get ready, Harrow. We're not just fighting for your life, we're fighting for the future of the galaxy. Jack met her gaze, the weight of the mission sinking in. Then let's not waste any more time. The air inside the Council's vault was sterile, cold, and oppressive. Jack Harrow felt the weight of his decision pressing down on him as he stared at the towering, steel-reinforced door in front of him. Behind that door lay the heart of the Galactic Codex, the most powerful database in existence, containing every law and regulation that governed the universe. He had been to many high-security facilities in his life, but none as intimidating as this. None that held so much at stake. A soft hum vibrated through the floor beneath him, and the cold light from the walls flickered. Every shadow seemed to pulse with hidden danger. The countdown had already begun. The entire team was tense, their eyes fixed on the door, knowing that Tsar Mekker's enforcers were hunting them. It was only a matter of time before they were discovered. Elena's voice broke through the silence, steady but filled with the unmistakable edge of urgency. We've got 10 minutes before the backup systems kick in. If we're not in and out by then, we'll be trapped. No going back. Jack nodded without looking at her. His mind was focused entirely on the door. He wasn't used to being the center of attention, let alone leading a mission that could make or break the galaxy's future. But here, now, everything had led to this moment. The fate of countless lives, species, and systems rested on whether he could crack the uncrackable. He stepped forward and placed his hand on the biometric reader. The system hummed, then clicked. A pulse of light shot from the walls, scanning him from head to toe, before the door slid open with a soft hiss. It was simple, almost anticlimactic, but to Jack, it was the beginning of the end. Inside the vault was a sea of data, rows upon rows of virtual servers and terminals. The walls seemed to stretch endlessly, each one pulsing with a faint, glowing light. The Codex wasn't a single entity, it was a web, a vast, ever-changing system that governed everything, from planetary governance to trade agreements, to laws of war. It was the backbone of the galaxy, and Jack had never seen anything like it. "We have to reach the central hub," Elena said, her voice now sharp. "It's the only place where the changes can be undone." The team moved quickly, each member following their assigned route. The central hub, as Elena had said, was located at the heart of the vault, protected by layers of security that only the highest-ranking officials could override. Jack felt the weight of the task pressing down on him. He wasn't just there to observe. He wasn't just there to find the anomaly in the system. He was there to rewrite history itself. To tear down the very foundation of galactic rule. The enormity of what they were about to do made his pulse race. They reached the central hub in record time, only to find that the systems there were far more advanced than Jack had anticipated. This was no ordinary terminal, it was a fortress, designed to keep the deepest secrets of the Codex safe from prying eyes. He had no illusions about what Tsar would do if he caught them. Tsar had the power to destroy not just individuals, but entire systems. His control over the Codex was near absolute. Elena placed a hand on Jack's shoulder, pulling him back into the present. "Can you do it?" Jack didn't answer immediately. His mind raced through the codes, the encryption, the layers of defenses that would have crushed anyone else. But he wasn't anyone else. He was human, and humans were unpredictable. Humans broke patterns. Jack had an instinct for seeing the system's flaws, the cracks in the armor. And right now, that was his only advantage. "Give me a minute," Jack said, his voice low and steady. His fingers moved across the controls in fluid motions, accessing layers of encryption that would have taken months for anyone else to decipher. He felt the weight of the task pressing against him, but his hands didn't falter. The system seemed to push back, resisting, but Jack was relentless. He was the first to see the pattern, the flaw that had been there all along. Humanity wasn't meant to fit into the Codex, it was meant to break it. As Jack worked, Elena watched him, her eyes focused and calculating. She didn't need to say anything. They both knew what would happen if they failed. Tsar Mekher wasn't just an administrator. He was a ruler, and rulers didn't let their power slip away without a fight. The Codex was his kingdom, and Jack had just stolen the keys. Minutes passed, and Jack's hands never stopped moving. Sweat dripped down his brow, his breath shallow, but his focus remained unbroken. Finally, there was a soft beep. The systems responded to his command, and a holographic display flickered to life in front of him. "I've done it," Jack said, his voice tense with a mix of exhaustion and triumph. "The Codex is broken. The encryption is unlocked. But there's more." The last words caught in his throat. He could feel it, the shift in the air. Something had changed. The system wasn't just responding to his code. It was adapting, evolving, as if it had a will of its own. Before he could say anything further, the holographic display flickered again, and a deep, echoing voice boomed from the central speakers. "Human." The voice was unmistakable. It was Tsar Mekher. Jack's heart raced as the voice continued, cold and deliberate. "You think you've broken the Codex. You think you've unlocked its secrets. But you've only begun to understand its true power." A shadow crossed the room as the vault's security systems powered up, locking down every exit and sealing off their escape routes. The voice continued, growing louder. "You've made a grave mistake, Jack Harrow. You've disturbed forces far beyond your comprehension." The tension in the room skyrocketed. Jack's fingers hovered over the control panel as he fought to stay focused. They were too deep in now. They couldn't go back. "What now?" Elena whispered, her eyes flicking nervously between Jack and the now glowing walls. Jack met her gaze, his face hardening with resolve. Now, we finish what we started. As the security systems activated, locking them inside the vault, Jack turned back to the system. The time for hesitation was over. Zar had warned them, but Jack knew one thing: humanity had always been at its best when it was forced to act. And now, with the galaxy's future on the line, he was ready to make the impossible choice. "You wanted chaos, Zar?" Jack muttered under his breath. "You're about to get it." The battle for the galaxy's future was no longer just about survival. It was about rewriting the rules, and Jack Harrow wasn't about to back down now.